Good morning. We're in week 6. Let's take a look here at the bellwork. Notice that I have a heading here, name, date, and period. I have week 6, and today's work should be in the middle of the page. Remember, your bellwork will be due in week 9, and week 9 is retest week. It's all going to be online. All right, look up here. Test number 2 is Monday. Solve for W. Well, you're multiplying, so all you have to do is divide by LH. And you can do it all at one time. So your answer is right here. That is equal to W. Okay. The next one, they want X. So the first thing I would do is multiply by 2 to get rid of that fraction. So I get 2y is equal to X plus 2. And then you can drop your parentheses and subtract 2. So it's going to be 2y minus 2 is equal to X. Let's go on. This one you want to get F by itself. So you want to get rid of that fraction. The way to get rid of that fraction is by multiplying by the reciprocal. So put 9 over 5 and 9 over 5. And then the 9's cancel and the 5's cancel. So you're left with 9 over 5c is equal to F minus 32. And then all you do is add 32. And you get 9/5 Celsius plus 32. So again, the trick is, since it's 5 over 9, you multiply by 9 over 5, the reciprocal, and then they all cancel out. Okay, that's the trick. This one right here is number 7, and some of you asked for this one, so watch again, okay? 3 over 5 times x is going to stay like that. Put a 1 under here. So it's going to be plus 3 over 5 times 5 over 1, and we'll figure that out in a minute, minus, put a 1 under here, 8 over 5 times 10 over 1, and then plus, actually it's going to be a negative times a positive, so that should be a negative 8 over 5x, and then you reduce. So you're going to get 3 over 5x here, the 5's cancel, so you're left with plus 3. 5 goes into 5 once, 5 goes into 10. 2 times 8 is 16, so that's minus 16. And then minus 8 over 5x. These are like terms, so you can combine them. So it's going to be 3 over 5x minus 13 minus 8 over 5x. And that should be your answer. You have more minuses as opposed to positives. All right, let's keep moving. Try this one on a new sheet of paper. To work this one, what you would do is you could just multiply by the reciprocal and get rid of that. So I would do d squared over gm. So d squared over gm. So the gm cancels, the d squared cancels, and you're left with m is equal to this. So you could put the k in front, it doesn't matter. And that should be your answer. Okay? Multiply by the reciprocal. You don't have to. I could have multiplied by d squared and then divided. Same thing. All right, last one. Try this one. This one right here, the d squared is on the bottom, but we want it on the top. So I'd put a 1 under here and I'd flip them right away. So I'd get 1 over k is equal to d squared, just like that. Now I would multiply by gm little m, gm little m, and cancel that out. So I'm going to get gm over little m over k is equal to d squared. Now, to get d by itself, you got to get rid of that square. So you do something called the square root. And the square root and square cancel. So you get d is equal to the square root of big G, big M, little m over k. And that's your answer. Okay, if you don't have any questions, your work is right here. If you finish this work, then I want you to finish your work from yesterday if you did not. Let's talk about geometry. Okay, just so you guys know, I think it's October 9th. I have it on the board somewhere up there. You're going to be taking the EOC online, in class, I guess it's going to be, and those at home, I guess you're going to be taking it at home. And it's a baseline test. It is going to count for a grade, okay? It's not going to count for your final or anything, and I'm not sure how much I'm going to weigh it, but make sure you do your best. Let's take a look here. So that date, I think, is 10/9, and that's going to be the EOC, and it's just the first one, okay? It's not the one that really counts. The last one really counts, but I will give you some kind of a grade. This one says find the point and coordinate 3/7 of the way from A to B. First thing you do, if you never learn these, is square this off. And when you square it off, you want to count the boxes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So this one is 7 boxes. This one is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 boxes, okay? Now all you do, it's real simple, is take 3/7 times 7/1. And that's going to cancel your 7s, and that's going to give you 3. So what you do is you go 3 units. 1 box, 2 box, 3 units, and you go up. So 3/7 of the way would be right there, okay? Halfway would be somewhere over here. But that is 3/7 of the way. Really simple. You don't have to do anything with the 5. And then let's get the point. Where is that at? I would say it's 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. I think that point is 4, 4. I'm not positive because I'm not using graph paper. But make sure you know that one. The trick is you square it off and then you multiply. Okay? And then you count the boxes. All right, that one is on the ELC. This one says find slope. Remember the y's go at the top. So it's going to be something minus something over something minus something. I want you to put the eyeballs. I'm going to call it the eyeball formula. So when I say the eyeballs, I mean this formula here for slope. So it's -8 and -4, and then 2 and -3. Eyeball formula. This becomes a plus, so that becomes a -4. This becomes a plus, and that becomes 5. There's your slope. Rise over run. All right, let's finish this up. To get the slope on this one, you have to first solve for y. So draw your line, circle your y. You want to subtract 2x from both sides, so you're going to get 3y equals -2x plus 6. Then you're going to divide by 3, and when you divide by 3, there's your slope. Okay? So this is actually called standard form, but you got to get it in slope-intercept form, which means get y by itself. Make sure you know that. All right, this one right here, on a new sheet of paper, because I couldn't fit it on the bellwork, find the slope perpendicular to 2a. Well, 2a, the slope was -4/5. So to be perpendicular, you'd have to flip change. So that would be 5/4. Make sure you know that. And then parallel to 2a, it would be the same. All right? Now, we're going on to a new section, new chapter. Copy this down. These are the rules for reflection. If you reflect over the x, you change the y. If you reflect over the y, you change the x. This one, if you reflect over the line y equals x, you switch. This one, you switch and change. And let's talk about these. Okay, this should be on a new sheet of paper. Make sure you have that. And let's use some of these rules. So right now, I want you to graph. So put 3.1, okay? And then I want you to put a triangle. So go over 5, up 4. That's point A. And then go over 5, up 0. That's point B. And that's actually a negative because you're going to the left. Okay? And then put a point over 3, up 2. and that's a negative also because you're going to the left. Draw your triangle. All right, now we're going to reflect it. Let's reflect it over the x-axis. Reflect over the x-axis. If you reflect it over the x, you change the y. So your new points are going to be A prime, B prime, and C prime. Write that down. So all you do here is change the y. So for A, you would change this to a negative. So you would say -5 and -4. You only change the y. This one, B, you would change the y, but it's 0, so that's still going to be -5, 0. You can't change 0. This one, you're going to change that, so it's going to be -3 is going to stay the same, but -2 changes. Okay, so let's graph it. -5 down 4, so -5, 1, 2, 3, 4. This is going to be point A prime. -5 up 0 is going to be the same point here. I'll put a square. We'll try to put a square. This one's -3, -2 is going to be here. So this reflection, and by the way, a reflection is a flip. And I'll use dotted lines. So when you flip it, that's a reflection, and that's a reflection over the y-axis. I'm sorry, over the x-axis. You change the y. Okay? All right. Well, that's how you do that. Now, for number 2, to reflect over the y-axis, you would change the x. It's the opposite one. So put A prime, B prime, and C prime. Now, I want you, right now, to change the x's. Start with the original. This is called the pre-image. The original, write that down, is called the pre-image. Okay? Anyway, so on this one you have to change the x's. So that becomes 5 and 4. Here, B was -5, 0, so when you change the x, it becomes 5, 0. And then finally, the last one, when you change the x, it's going to be 3 and 2. Let's see how that looks. So you're going to go over 5 up 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4. So this point is going to flip over the y-axis, which is this axis here. That's your y. And it's going to flip over here. So the distance from here to here should be the same as the distance from here to here. So put A prime here. Okay? Watch the next one. Over 5 up 0 is here. And then over 3 up 2 is going to be here, I think. So graph it. And look at it how it flips. It goes like that. And that's reflected over the y. All right, now, there are 2 more reflections that you need to know. So write this down. Y equals x. That is a line that looks like this. So y equals x is a 45-degree line like that. And then y equals -x is a 45, but it's backwards. Now, I gave you the rules for these, okay? For this one, you switch. So if the point is, let's see, over 2 up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So if the point is 2, 5, you switch them. And the new point would be, A prime would be 5, 2. You switch them. So over 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, up 2 is here. And you can see that the distance from here to here should be equal to that distance. Now again, I'm not using graph paper, but that's how you do it. Okay, you switch them. On this one, you switch and change. So if the point is 2, 5, like that one, then you would switch them and you would change them. If it's a positive, you put a negative. If it's a negative, you put a positive. All right, well, those are the rules. Now let's look at the worksheet for today. Number one. Number one says reflect it over the line y equals -2. This is your y-axis. So -2 is right here. It's sideways. Okay, remember you got to look at the tick mark. Okay, I tried to teach that to you. Okay. Now what you want to do is reflect it over that line. So since this point is on the line, it's going to stay the same. This point is 1 below, but you're going to go 1 above. You're just throwing it over that line. This point is 1, 2, 3 below, so you want to go 1, 2, 3 above. This point is 2 below, so you want to go 2 above. So the new one looks like this. Let's see how I'm going to do this here. And there it is. That's the new one. And I'll use purple so you can see it's a flip. It's a reflection over that line, y equals -2. This one says reflect over the x-axis. This is your x-axis. So color it in. That's your x-axis. So what you want to do is count the points or spaces. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Put a dot. This one's going to be 5. Put a dot. This one's going to be 5, but it's on this one, so it's got to be here. This one's going to be 1, 2, 3, so you go 1, 2, 3 right here. And then you connect them. Now I'm not sure if I can do that. Let me think. Something like this. Okay? And there it is. That's a reflection. You'll know if it looks right. Okay? This one is the line y equals -x. -x looks like this, remember? It's a special one. It's a 45, but in a negative direction. So the way you're going to do that, I mean, I guess you could go sideways. Like this one is here, so this one would be here. This one is somewhere over here. 1, 2, 3. So this one would be 1, 2, 3 right here. Okay. This one is 1 this way, so it's got to go that way. This one is 1.5, so it's got to be somewhere right here. And so this thing looks like that. You could use the formula that I gave you. This one was switch, change. Okay, so in other words, this point is over 1, 2, 3, 4, up 2. So this point is 4, 2. But the new point, you would switch them and change it. So it'd be -2 and -4. So it'd be 1, 2, -2, and -4 would be here. And that's exactly the right way. So you could use the formula or you can do it that way. All right, so if you can't be with us, here's your worksheet for today. As you get stuck, I will help you. Okay, this back side, you got to figure out what line it is. Like this one, it looks like it's reflected over the x-axis. So reflect over the x-axis would be the answer. Okay, this one looks like it's going to be y equals -x because it looks like it goes through there. All right, so this one you got to try to figure out what is the line of symmetry. Anyway, that's your work for today, and I'll see you in class.